See if they could become something more. See if they could work together when we needed them to fight the battles that we never could. Phil Coulson died still believing in that idea. In Hero. Well, it's an old-fashioned notion. There was an idea called the Avengers Initiative. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more, see if they could work together when we needed them to fight the battles that we never could. Phil Coulson died still believing in that idea. In Hero. Well, it's an old-fashioned notion.
Alrighty, y'all. So welcome to the live. We're joined here with our special guests. Feel free to introduce yourself, man.
Hey, what's up? It's Dave Trosko, the voice of President Mike from My Hero Academia and like 200 other anime characters over the last 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. I remember I was going to type all of them. I'm like, my goodness, I'm going to lose my fingers and my speed here. So, Dave, I appreciate you joining us on this awesome Thursday evening. I know we were trying to get it for Tuesday, but we had to rearrange. So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
So, just want to kind of go into, man. So, I know that obviously you're known for a lot of voice acting, of a lot of voice talent. So just to kind of give us a start, what made you start? Like, you came out of high school, you said, hey, you know what, I want to go into voice acting, or I want to be a star. Like, what was that start of that journey for you?
Yeah, so I was in high school when I started. I was, I think it was like 16 or 17. And I always knew I always thought it would be fun to be a voice actor. At an early age, I mean, watched a lot of cartoons. I was always really good at voices too. I mean, I was an actor, so I did a lot of dialects, and I always had a knack for it. And yeah, I really only found out about like what it was to be a voice actor when I figured out who Billy West was. And he was like a hero to me because as a kid, because I loved Ren and Stimpy. It was like my favorite show. And Doug and all these shows that I noticed his name constantly popping up in the credits. And I thought, oh, that guy's cool. He gets to do this for a living. How fun would that be to do that for a living? And I never thought that it was like a possibility that I would do it. It was always kind of like a dream. And yeah, when I can't remember, it was like 16 or 17, I went in for an open casting call at Funimation, which at the time was really not much. They had Dragon Ball Z, and I think they had dubbed the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and a couple of other things. But anime was not, I mean, this was 20 years ago. Anime was not on the scene the way that it is today. And it was an open casting call. I went in, and Sonny Strait was actually the guy that was doing the audition. And he liked what I did, and I remember I got a call back, and the way I found out was my mom came to the high school and wrote a note for me and left it at the office in the front office. And I think it was fourth period. I was in theater class at the time, and I got a call to the office, and I'm like, well, why do I need to go to the office? And I get there, and the lady at the front desk hands me this letter. She goes, your mom dropped this off for you. And it was a small note, and it just said, Dave, with a comma, and then a big long like arrow, you got called back. And I was like, oh my God, I got a call back to be a voice actor. I'm so excited. And I went running down the hallway, and I remember I walked in, because like a big thing that our acting teacher always was like, if you're an actor, learn other jobs too, because there's a lot of actors that are not acting. They do other things. So make sure that you have other skill sets and whatever, because there's very few working actors out there. And I remember I took that paper, was like, I'm a working actor now, motherfuckers. I was like so excited. Oh, that was a long time ago. But I was super excited, and of course I got a really really big head really early because of that. And I don't know. It took about 2 years for me to really get any kind of juicy roles because it took a long time for me to learn how to do the voice acting thing, and there was no training at that time for that sort of thing. Now there's a bunch of classes you can go take and people that can guide you through things. Then it wasn't. It was kind of like on the job training. So it took a while to learn how to be decent at it. And yeah, kind of once you get in, especially where I was at that level with Funimation, when there was nobody, very few people. The acting talent pool was very small. It was easy to kind of stick around. So I did.
So what was that role that you got the job for? Do you remember that specific role? Was it just like a sound
it was
one-liner, or what?
Yeah, it was like they were just looking to fill their talent pool.
Okay.
Really. So it was like, I think the first role I ever did was in Full Metal Alchemist, and it wasn't a role. It was like additional voices. That was some like boy in a blue shirt, and that's all it was. It was just like, hey, like something silly. But there was a lot of that sort of stuff to work on. And then I probably would attribute me coming back to Funimation like repeatedly was because Chris Bevins, who's a former voice director for Funimation, he was there at the time. I think he's in California now. I think he's still directing. He might be doing Bang Zoom or something, but he's still in the industry, I think. And Chris Bevins was like, hey, your dad and my dad used to work together in the Boy Scouts. My dad was a scout executive in the Boy Scouts. And I said, oh, really? Cool. And he goes, yeah, my dad used to be your dad's boss. And I said, oh, cool. He goes, now I'm going to be your boss. And I said, oh, even better. Great. Cool. And Chris Bevins and I always had a good relationship when we worked there, and he was great. And he brought me in for a small character in Versed Angel. I think his name was Spike, and it was a small bit character, but it actually had a couple of episodes, and it was a reoccurring character, and that was kind of my first real role. And then I think the biggest first role I got, well, there was two. There was I played the older brother in Galaxy Railways, which I was super excited about because basically the way that they framed this whole movie was that this pair of brothers, was running this Galaxy Railways, and I was one of the brothers, and I was the older brother, like the cool one. Oh, nice. And I die in the second episode. So the whole story, I was serious thinking that I was going to be like, a big part of this show, and like I had finally landed a good spot, a good role, and I died in the second episode. And the whole story is about how the little brother's like avenging his older brother's death, and I'm like, well, ain't that something? And then I was in a little show called High School Rumble as Imadori, the class pervert.
Oh, actually, you remember that show?
Yeah, it's a fun show. And he's like obsessed with boobs, and it was a good role for a 19-year-old kid to play, I guess.
And then, so since you played these roles so early into your career, did you go to college? Like, did you attend college to like theater class, or how did that work, or where did you attend?
Yeah, that's something I always tell people that ask me about voice acting too. The first question I'll ask everybody, if they're like, how do you get into voice acting? I'll be like, well, are you an actor? And they'll be like, oh, no. I'm like, well, it's a pretty big part of the voice acting thing is being an actor first. So yeah, I went to college. I went to TCU for 2 years, their theater school. I had the Norden Scholarship there for acting. I got in a fight with my parents, and I didn't want to live in the dorms anymore. So I dropped out of TCU, and I ended up going up to UNT, University of North Texas, and I finished my degree there. And then I spent some time at TWU up here too, and they offered me a little bit of a scholarship, and I started a master's program with them. But then, like halfway through the master's program, one of the professors there was just like, what are you doing here? Like, you need to just go out and work. Like, there's nothing that we can teach you here. You just need to go and whatever. And I'm like, well, what about the credentials? And he's like, you're not going to teach theater anytime soon. If you want to come back, when you're old and grizzled and done with it and done trying, and then come back, and that's when you get your graduate degree. But right now, you're young, you're good looking. Go out, go act, and go into the world. There's nothing that we can do for you here in academia. So I did. I took his advice, and I dropped out of my graduate program and moved to London, where I did a show with this professor, and kind of still was doing the voice acting thing all the way through that. I also did some small work as a cowboy gunfighter at Six Flags, just kind of finding acting jobs all over the place.
Interesting. So I'm gonna share a clip here, man. A little bit of context. Just tell me kind of what's going on. I don't know if you remember this or not. Just something that I dug up on the internet because back in the day I wanted to be an investigative journalist, and I was like, this is gonna be interesting.
Are we gonna go like Nardwar here? Like,
yeah, we'll see what happens here. Let's see if I'm gonna play it here.
Did Mrs. Penley take us out?
Oh wow!
Actually, that'll help. We'll be able to judge her reaction when she opens up the door. By the time she was driving the van to the science museum. She just must be a wreck, huh? I know, it'll be great! I don't think I want to do this. Why's that? Believe it or not, I'm a little reluctant.
You guys know who that is in the red shirt, right?
Evil.
Well, funny story about that. That's what I was gonna ask you. So, who happens
That's
to be
Ian
that
Sinclair.
gentleman? So you guys attended college together?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. In fact, I'm the reason Ian Sinclair was introduced to Funimation.
Oh, nice.
Go figure. So Ian, very interested in what I was doing, because everybody knew that I was a voice actor there, because I definitely wore it on my sleeve. I was very proud of what I was doing, even though it was just for anime. He was into it, and he ended up going to a voice session with me, because back in the day, you could like kind of bring your friends to voice sessions if you wanted to. It was kind of open door-ish. I always asked, but yeah, I brought him to a session with, it was with Chris Sabat, and introduced Ian, and Ian just kind of watched the session, and then he, I think he exchanged information with them, and he got brought in to do a small bit role, and then he really like sunk his teeth into it, and like he's big voice actor now. But yeah, I'm the guy that kind of put my foot in the door for him to come in. There's been a couple of actors that Tia Ballard's another one that I brought into the whole fray too. She was a student in a voice class at UNT, and the professor of that class asked me to come in and talk to the class about being a voice actor and what kind of sort of opportunities they were. And then she said, there's 3 people in this class that are really talented that I think could do a good job, and Tia was one of them. And I said, well, I'll see what I can do, whatever. So we recorded a small voice demo for her. Like I did it just like we did at Funimation, except we didn't have a recording booth at the college to use, so we just used this like storage closet, and I think we used like a fake Christmas tree as a pop screen, and we had her do this little voice demo. I ended up handing that demo to Todd Habercorn when he was working at Funimation, and she got brought in for some bit roles, and then there was that. So I've ushered in several. Now, for some reason, they don't cast me in any of their shows to thank me for opening the door for them, but whatever. Water under the bridge.
No,
That's just
cool.
so. So you and Ian Sinclair went to school together. So do you remember that particular scene, I guess, or?
So funny enough, actually, the professor of that class, PJ Walsh, we just had coffee together this morning, actually, and he had mentioned that video. He said, just watch it again, and just this isn't trying to talk myself up, but he was saying like, you were so effortless, you know, with your acting, and I just loved what you brought to the stage, and everything you did was just natural, and it just came so easy to you. It was just really fun watching you. So watch that scene again, and just see how kind of effortless it is. It just kind of snaps into place. And both me and Ian were kind of similar actors in that element of it just came really easily to both of us, and we were friends at the time. We still are, I guess, acquaintances and friends. We don't really hang out. I mean, I've got a family, and he's in Dallas, and you know, we just don't hang out. You know, you lose friends along the way, but I mean, we were still friendly with each other. But we were in a band together. We played at a burlesque strip club together. He played bass, and I played piano. We were called the Pocket Rockets. And yeah, I think we dated some of the same girls in college. Eskimo bros, as they would call them. But he was a good kid in college, and yeah, we just were really good together on stage. We had a lot of chemistry together. So yeah, that's a fun video. Thanks for pulling that out. That's good to see that one.
That was a little bit to undig, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard one to find. I know it's on PJ Walsh's YouTube, which I just did a show with PJ Walsh in Fort Worth. It's a one-man show called Pleading Infinity. It's the first time I really did like real theater in a long time. I did Little Shop of Horrors last summer, but it didn't really count. I played the dentist.
You played the dentist?
Yeah, it was a blast. It was a bucket bucket list role that I've always wanted to play. And I just had the opportunity to do it and went in and killed it. And then I got killed.
You don't have highlights of that? Jay, have you seen Little Shop of Horrors, Jay?
Yeah, I have. Really good.
All right.
It's such a fun role to play too. I mean, I'd love to go play Seymour once. That'd be another fun role. But the dentist, if you're just gonna pop in and do a show, the dentist is a blast. It's great.
That's true. So out of all the roles that you've had, what are some unique challenges that have presented themselves when it comes to some of the projects you've done?
Well, that's a little bit of a loaded question, man, because like I don't like acting roles. I can't really think of any like real challenges. Voice acting's, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It's hard to get the hang of it, so I guess that's a challenge. You know, getting used to the sound of your own voice and not hating it. I would say some of the challenges definitely came. The biggest challenge, honestly, it was 2020, and finally getting a lot of notoriety and fame with the Present Mike character. Because while I have been doing this for a while, and a couple of people knew my name, I really was like low on the radar. Like I didn't have any really big breakout roles. I really didn't. I had a couple of roles that everybody recognized, but I didn't have any like huge leading roles that people were like, oh, that's the Dave Trosko, like the ilk of like Chris Sabat or even Ian Sinclair now. Like he's got some big, huge roles in some big, huge shows. I never had that because I never really put voice acting first in my life. I put family and career first. And voice acting I always thought was more like a hobby. Anyways, when I became like kind of famous for the Present Mike thing, I had to relearn how to interact with the social media, because before then I would just put whatever I felt like online. And I'm a conservative, I'm a Christian, and that doesn't wash well with some people, and I have different viewpoints, and I'm an outspoken person too, and I had to like realize like, oh, don't say those sorts of things on Twitter. People get upset. Or, even if you said something that you thought was funny and was like, it was totally meant as a joke or something like that, and somebody can take it the wrong way. And I had never experienced that before. So all of a sudden people are like digging through my Twitter feed, like these fans finding posts from years ago that are like, oh, look at this asshole, look what he said here, oh my gosh. And I got labeled as like a homophobe and a racist, which are complete, it's bullshit. But I mean, I get it. People were at home with nothing to do in 2020 and bored and just finding all that stuff. So learning how to live with that fame and also kind of like removing myself from it and realizing I don't really want to be famous. I'm happy where I'm at. I was doing pretty good for like 16 years, and then all of a sudden President Mike threw me into stardom, and I was like, ugh, kind of rough. So that was a challenge. Technically, however, like as far as voice acting goes, the hardest thing was doing Present Mike in was it season 2 or 3? There's a scene where he's fighting 2 students and he has to use his voice.
Oh yes, I remember.
And it's like it's really, I think, one of the only times we see Present Mike using his voice as a weapon. But not the only time, but I mean, like one of the few times. And there was like a 20-second scream. Oh, there was several screams. There was like a couple 12-second ones. There was a 16-second one, and then there was a big like 20-second one where it's at the very end. Yeah, he just goes. I had laryngitis when I did that session, so I walk in. And, beforehand, I could always just, bust out Present Mike. There was not that big of an issue. It kind of fell right in my usual voice range. And I'm a loud guy and a talker as it is. So Present Mike just fit really well with me. But then this session, I walk in and Colleen's like, are you ready? Colleen, Carol, the director. She goes, are you ready? I go, yeah, whatever you got, man. She goes, today's going to be a day. I was like, oh yeah, why? I'm kind of sick today. She goes, you are? What do you have? I'm like, I think I got a little like sore throat, laryngitis. She goes, oh no. And she showed me the cues and the lines, and she's like, you've got like 6 or 7 massive screams, and you have to do them all today because we have one more day to record before this goes out to post. I was like, well, shit, I guess we'll do it. So we did, and I mustered all the strength, downed a bunch of warm water, and I went in and I said, let's just do all the screams right up front, and we did them all. And I remember I did that 20-second scream in there. 20 seconds is a long time to scream, fellas.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your word for that one.
I mean, it's a long time to hold your breath in general, and then but to produce it's a long time. I do it, but I didn't like it. I was like, let me try one more time. She goes, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, let me do it one more time. And I did it. And it was worse than the first one, so we just went with the first take. And then I went and recorded all the lines. And if you go back and listen to that episode, I think it's in season 2. It might be in season 3. You can hear him, and when I actually do my lines, you're like, "Ooh, that is a different voice for President Mike." It's a little weaker than usual because I had just blown the holy hell out of my vocal cords with that session. That was fun.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask you about that one because I know that fight scene with when it was fighting with the kids. Yeah, I know that those screams must have been it must have taken a toll for you because they were pretty loud. They were pretty long.
Yeah, and I mean, I used to be on the pep rally crew in high school, so I'm used to screaming loud and long, and I did the Six Flags stuff too, and I'm screaming over a huge crowd of people as a gunfighter, and I mean, I would like to say it was super difficult. It wasn't too hard, but it definitely took a toll. The one thing that I did notice, when we did the video game, was it My Heroes One's Justice 2? It's like a fighting game with the things. I had I think I was booked for like 6 hours to do that whole session for the video game, which is, just queue after queue after queue after queue of fight sounds and lines and attack moves and all this stuff. And I did all 6 hours of those queues in like an hour and 45 minutes. Because I told the director, I was like, hey, Present Mike, like, I got about 2 hours of him in me at any given moment. So if we want to blow through this, let's just blow through. And the faster we go, the more you'll get out of me. So we just went boom, 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 boom. And we did the whole, it was like 300 cues or something like that. Something crazy. I can't remember exactly what it was. But the next day, I wake up and my throat is like killing me. Like I felt like I thought I had COVID. I was like, oh God, it just hurts. It hurts when I move. Like it was like the muscle was sore. My throat, my actual throat, like swallowing didn't hurt, but it was like my neck hurt. And I realized whenever I do President Mike, I like tense up a lot, and it was because I was like flexing my neck. But yeah.
That's interesting. That's cool. So we have Dale, one of our viewers here, that says, what's one of the characters, or what's your favorite character you voiced?
I love President Mike. I really do. And that's an easy answer, but there's been a couple that I really enjoyed because I got to play with the role. And one was it's kind of a more obscure anime. It's called DAC Ray, and it's about kind of the end of the world and Nazis and vampires and spiritual creatures and whatnot. Really weird show, but I've got to play this character called Reinhard Heydrich, it's the actual name of an actual like Nazi soldier from from World War II. Like an actual Reinhard Heydrich actually existed. He was like one of Hitler's like right-hand man. So I got to do like a German accent, and this guy was like super spooky and super creepy, and he was, vampire-ish type, otherworldly dude, and it was just it was so much fun to get to play with that voice and to be that guy. Also, Jack in Dances with Devils, which is another fun anime. That was another. I love playing those evil guys. They're so much fun. He was another vampire, and really just fun to play. And then I would probably say my favorite anime that I've ever been in, that I actually watched and enjoy the story and love, was Seraph of the End, where I played Gurren Ichinose. And that was cool. The direction I was given by Jerry Jewell for that was, he's kind of like a Han Solo type character. And I'm like, yeah, huge Star Wars fan. I love it. Bring it on. So that's kind of how he was played. Can you guys hear those sirens? Something's going on down here.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
We live by the fire department, so at least that's good.
Yeah, that's true. Live interview. That's awesome. So, besides the voice acting, what are some other passions and hobbies that you tend to do on your free time?
Well, I'm a chef. So, wow, he's really blowing his horn over there. I'm a chef. I have my own culinary company. I've been doing cooking for years. As I was telling you guys before we started, I started as an actor, and actors wait tables, and I got bored with waiting tables, and I became a chef because that was really fascinating to me, and I loved the idea of making food for people. And it's kind of a second stage for me. I love like the instant gratification you get when you cook something for someone and they eat it and they respond and they're like, "Oh, this is so good." And it's kind of like a performance, where people like respond to your performance, they respond to your cooking. And it was, I guess, kind of like something that it was fun to be good at something that a lot of people aren't good at. Mm-hmm. A lot of people can't cook very, very well, so I wanted to become really good at that. And now I've got my little culinary company. I get to do whatever I want, really, with it. It's a great way for me to still be a stay-at-home dad and take care of my kids and coach soccer and do those fun things with them and be a good husband. And then also I get to practice my passion of culinary arts. When I was working in the restaurants, as I was kind of coming up, you're working anywhere from 60 to 90 hours a week as a chef. And it's all day-to-day grind, and it's hard. And I didn't like that part. I liked the cooking, but I didn't like the actual like day-to-day of it. With this company that we developed, we do private dining, we do like supper clubs, we do catering, and I get to write my own schedule. So if it doesn't fit in with me, I can say no, and I can go on with life. I can go to anime conventions and guest signings whenever I want. So it's been cool. God's really blessed us with this opportunity for me to do what I like doing and still make a little bit of money doing it, and being able to take care of my family in the process.
Very cool. So we have Danny in the comments. Danny is actually the owner of the RGV Sports Show you're going to attend.
Oh,
So
rock
he's
and
just
roll.
saying,
Hey, Danny.
looking forward to having you at the RGV. He's got you there. He's got Kane. I don't know if you're familiar with the mayor.
Wait,
So
like the wrestler?
yeah,
Yeah.
wrestler, bro, Kane. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be there from 11 to 3 on the first day.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
God! Can I
so-
sit next to him? He was like my favorite guy.
Hey, Danny, can you make it happen, Danny? I think your table is actually by Kane, if I remember correctly. I think it's like
Dude!
Kane, you,
Oh
and
man!
then, yeah.
I never watched too much wrestling, but I do remember Kane and him like being like, oh, what was it? I think it was either a game that we used to play, but I always played as him.
Oh, look,
Yeah.
Danny says he got you. I can introduce you. Dean.
Kane and the Undertaker were like my two. Everybody else was like into Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff like that, and I was like Diamond Dallas Page and all them. I liked
the
like the
Attitude
creepy-
Era. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So it's gonna be you, Kane. There's a Turbo Ranger, Blake Forrester, and a Dallas Cowboy lineman that's there.
Oh, who's the Dallas Cowboy? I want to know who that is.
Let's see.
I know,
Danny, I'm really
I
bad
know
at this.
I know the Dallas Cowboys will be there on Sunday. He's not gonna be there Saturday, but he'll be there Sunday.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see if Danny can throw me a corner here real quick while I pull up the flyer. It's been a
Yeah, I'm
minute.
literally looking
That's
for-
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Cowboys fan too, so
it's-
that works.
It's Jim Jeffcoat.
Jim Jeffcoat. All right, well that one's over my head.
Yeah, he's from the '90s Super Bowl team. There you go, Jeffcoat. There you go, Jimmy Jeffcoat. Whatever, potato.
I wasn't watching football in the '90s. I was watching Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, what's it called? He also had brought in before he passed away, Marion Barber and so forth from then too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so Danny's really big on the sports culture there. He does a lot of good events there, man. And I think it's been a while since you've done an event, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't do many. I'm kind of like Bigfoot. Like you gotta catch me when you catch me. I've done a couple of signings at a random little place up here in Denton. I used to go to a couple of shows. I went to more shows when I was directing and more like involved with Funimation. But I don't know if that's part of like the 2020 canceling of Dave Trosko. If that's like the remnants of that. But I really don't mind. But I kind of like being obscure and not going to like a convention every single week and just like over polluting the I don't know, the world with my signature. It's actually worth more, I think.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, if you catch a wild Dave Trosko in public, man. So I used to have a My Hero Academia shirt that I would wear, and it's like one of the shirts from UA. It just looks like it's almost like a cosplay shirt, and I would wear it to places in Denton, not for any reason other than just it was a shirt that fit me. But several times when I'd be wearing that, someone would come and be like, "Hey, nice shirt, man." And I'd be like, "Oh, you watched the show?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'd be like, "Cool. I do voices for the show." "Oh, no way. Who are you?" I'm the voice of President Mike. "Oh my God, he's like my favorite character." "Cool. You want me to like like sign something? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, like, here's my baby. Like,
How
or
many babies have you signed?
two
Two?
babies,
Oh, there you go.
Interesting.
two babies.
I was totally joking about that. Interesting.
I mean, it was a very polite way of signing baby. It was much. It was like on their little arm. It wasn't like, here, I'm gonna write on your face, baby. Yeah, it was just more out of fun than anything. But yeah, those are the fun things. I love meeting fans like in real life. And I've met several of them. It's much more intimate and it's cooler. And then it's fun to also like, I'll give them my information. Be like, yeah, they want to take a picture with me, of course. Yeah, sure, take a picture with me, and we'll take a picture. And I'll end up like be combing through my Instagram or something, and I'll be like, oh, hey, look, there's that person, and then there's that picture of me that we took at the liquor store while I was buying tequila for tonight. So that sort of stuff is always is fun, and I love interacting with fans. They're great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know we got a lot of people looking forward to it. So, speaking about a little bit of your backstory. So, I pulled some pictures off the internet on top of that video, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna pull up these pictures, man. We like to call this segment like snapshot stories. So I'm gonna pull up the picture. Just give us some context of what's going on, and I promise it's nothing too bad. Just FYI.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, sure.
nothing horrible, but just fill us in on what's going on in the background and all that good stuff. Okay.
Sure.
So this will be the first one here.
Oh, all right. So that was May 4th. May the 4th be with you. My nickname at the restaurant was the Kitchen Jedi because I had a boss that was just really, really impressed with my abilities and my talents. And he's like, you can do anything, man. You're like a freaking Jedi. And you can like train the Padawans in this kitchen to be awesome. And I was like, yeah, I like that. Obviously, as I mentioned, Star Wars fan. So, of course, I had to bring my lightsaber to work. And that's me in front of my pizza oven. And that was a great day. That was a fun day. You can probably go on my Facebook and see the pictures of the Star Wars pizzas that I made. I made like a Yoda pizza and a Darth Vader pizza, a BB-8 pizza, like some pizza art, man.
That's cool. I have to ask you, who's your favorite Star Wars character? Like from all of them, like who would be your favorite?
Cad Bane.
You know how it ended for him, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Not good. No, I Cad Bane was really cool. I loved him in the Book of Boba Fett, and that's really like I think it was just the actor or the character altogether, but that character just was like he was so cool. But like as far as like main Star Wars folks that people actually know that don't follow like deep into Star Wars, man, that's a hard one. That's really hard. I don't know. Darth Vader's pretty fucking cool.
It's true. Facts. So.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm really not a huge fan of Obi-Wan. I think he's kind of a blowhard.
This guy, bro.
Oh my
like
god!
James, bro?
Oh my fucking god! You made my day. You made my day right now.
Qui-Gon. Well, Qui-Gon was right there too. I liked the random, like, I don't remember what kind of species they were. I'm not that big of a nerd, but the guys that like in the beginning of episode 1, the kind of noseless alien-looking guys that had like a Japanese accent.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. Why did they choose the Japanese accent for these guys that were like holding a trade embargo against the Naboo? Like that's kind of racist. But those guys are silly and fun. And I'm sorry, like I liked Jar Jar Binks. Like the guy didn't do anything wrong. He was silly.
Jar Jar Binks is best Sith Lord.
Right. Well, what up, Chris? What's going on?
Watto was a fun character. Oh, I really hated Sebulba.
No one likes.
Why? I don't know why I'm just like going all towards like episode 1, but episode 1 was a big deal for. I'm 37, so Episode 1 was a big deal for me because it was I guess, when did Return of the Jedi come out?
Return.
Is that 86 or 89?
I want to say it was 89, but I'm not 100% sure, man.
Yeah, so I would have been 3 years old in 1989, so I didn't really know that movie coming out. But when Episode 1 came out, that was huge. I mean, I was in 7th grade. I knew what was going on. I was in band. I played the clarinet, and I remember we played Duel of the Fates and a couple of the new Star Wars songs. I mean, it was a big deal for me. So I guess Episode 1 has a special place in my heart. But I mean, my favorite's Return of the Jedi. And Rogue One. Love Rogue One. Actually, screw that. I love it all. I really do. And I get so upset. I'm sorry we're going down a Star Wars rabbit hole here when this is probably supposed to be about anime.
Hey, bro,
But here's the thing. I posted something about this a while back. It was after I watched and cried through the ending of The Rise of Skywalker. And I was like, I love these movies so much. I love them all. And I got so mad at all the like Star Wars fans that were like, big, so like, oh, this movie sucked. This one sucked. This sucked. I hated the fact that they did this in this movie. I literally watched every single movie and I found a piece of value in every single one of them. And I liked every single one of them. And I wasn't critiquing them. I just was thoroughly entertained. And I said, maybe I'm a bigger fan than these mega fans out here because I actually like the movies and don't critique them to all hell. But that's just me.
That's did you see the Ahsoka episode?
Yeah, boss. Did you see episode 5 of
I have not seen the last one. I haven't gotten caught up on it. I've been watching I've been watching Portlandia lately and Comedy Bang Bang. Kind of got sucked into those. I got sucked into Dexter. I never finished Dexter. So I finished all of Dexter too. And I don't have too much time to watch TV. I just watch it at night, and usually I fall asleep, so I have to rewatch. But I have not. I think I watched the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka, and to be honest, not my favorite character. Not really.
Not a big fan.
I don't know. She's cool. I think what it is, and this is a really stupid thing to say because it is Star Wars, but she just looks so fake. I just can't. I don't buy into the character. Like I know Cad Bane, like obviously fake, but I believed him. Like Ahsoka, I'm like, what's that thing on your head, man? Like it looks fake.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. I never got into her as a character anyways, even in the Mandalorian stuff, which loved the Mandalorian, every single piece of that, and cried when Luke showed up at the end and took Grogu, and I just that was emotional. Like I'm sitting here, 37-year-old dude freaking crying over a movie about imaginary characters and a CGI Luke Skywalker.
That's awesome because I'm gonna let that comment slip about Obi-Wan, bro. That's my boy.
Is he your guy? You like Obi-Wan?
I'm actually a Qui-Gon guy, but I mean Obi-Wan's good too.
Sophie, bro,
I figured you were a Mace Windu.
I mean I like talking shit. BMF, bro, bad motherfucker. Pulp Fiction all the way.
Does he look like a bitch?
Exactly. So
I'm not gonna lie to you, Dave. You made my day right now. When you said that, you made my day.
I'm gonna hear that shit from Jay for the rest of my fucking life.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, hey, Alec Guinness is a hero of mine. He's a phenomenal actor, and as a person that's done Shakespeare a lot, like that dude was awesome. And I would say Ewan McGregor's performance is so awesome because he really actually, I don't know if it's just natural, but if you compare the two voices, like if you go back and watch it, as a voice actor, obviously and director, I hear voices very well. He's got the cadence down. He's really, he's all there. He sounds like Alec Guinness when he does it. So I would say that performance-wise, it's beautiful. Character-wise, I don't know.
Yeah, you're good, bro. We're all entitled to opinions. Some are wrong. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah,
I'm just fucking with you.
like the guy who cast what is his name? Hayden Anakin.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen. Yeah.
Hayden Christensen. Yeah, the guy who cast Hayden Christensen as Anakin. He was wrong.
You need to see the YouTube video called Obi-Wan had this PTSD. It'll make you tear up. My goodness.
Okay.
We're gonna have to check that out. So, as we're talking about the snapshots, man, what's going on this one over here?
So that was the day I premiered my culinary company. We were at an event at a Lexus dealership, and I was catering in. We had a bunch of different food stands, and mine was one of them. And I brought 2 dishes. The first dish is kind of a dish that I invented and I'm kind of known for now. It is a chilled ceviche gyoza. So if you're familiar with gyoza, it's the Japanese dumpling, usually stuffed with like pork, chicken, vegetables, and then deep fried, or maybe it's steamed. This one is stuffed with ceviche, like, raw fish, and steamed lightly, and it's served with a couple of different sauces. It's amazing. It tastes amazing, and it's like true like Asian Mexican cuisine, which I love, kind of combining the two. I love both of those cuisines. The other dish that I brought was a pork belly taco with crickets on it, and it was funny just wigging out all these like rich muckety mucks that were at this event, and I'm there eating. I fed them bugs. And most of them were like, "Is this good for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's got like a biotin in it. It's got a lot of protein." I'm like, "Oh, I like that. I like it. It's sustainable too." They'd eat their tacos. It was fun, and that was this event. Yeah, and this was me probably at the beginning, just acting goofy.
That's awesome. And then we have this one here.
Like, I was at one of the last conventions I did in Alabama. Really cool folks. A lot of these. So for a while, I was doing these My Hero Academia conventions with this particular group. I don't know what happened. I must have done something wrong because they stopped inviting me. Maybe it was this picture. But I would actually get on the microphone because, like at conventions, they'll announce like there's a panel in room 2B with voice actor goes through this. I was like, hey, since this is a My Hero Academia convention, why don't you hand me the microphone and I'll do like all the announcements like we're at UA High, and I'll be like President Mike doing all the announcements. People loved it. It was great. Anyways, this guy came in with this car that's like a whole My Hero Academia car. And I said, I got to get a picture of me in that. And he goes, yeah, cool, let's do it. So I get in, and of course, the first thing I do is I lay on the horn. People are all like looking around, like, what the hell? And he took a picture of me screaming, yeah, out the window. Really loud.
That's awesome. And then this one over here.
Oh, okay. So that was a convention in Arizona. I went to that convention for free just because I wanted to go back to Phoenix. I lived in Phoenix for about 1.5 years when I was younger. And I was just like, hey, I'll come for free. I just want a free trip to Arizona. So pay for my plane ticket and my room, and I'll sign autographs at your convention. And this is when I was directing a show called My First Girlfriend is a Gal, which is a hilarious show. We got in a lot of trouble for that show because it was so funny. My sense of humor is not the same as everyone else's. But that's what that shirt is. That shirt says I Heart Gals on it. And it was from that show, My First Girlfriend is a Gal. My First Girlfriend is a Gal is probably my favorite show I ever directed. We got in trouble because we strayed from the script and the translation so much, because in Japan, it was designed as like a pop culture reference show. So there's a lot of different references in there.
Mhm.
So I did pop culture references too, except I made it more for the American palate and not the Japanese palate. So we got like, because a guy does a Yoda impersonation in it at one point. Like there's a bunch of like American Pie jokes in there. My first girlfriend is a gal is about this kid who like wants to get his first kiss, and he's in high school, and he ends up dating like the hot chick, and come to find out she's not as confident as he thinks she is, and whatever. It's a coming of age story, but it's got a lot of boobs and butts in it and wiener jokes. So definitely worth a view if you're interested in that sort of thing.
I had to check it out.
That's it. And then here,
Okay, that is in Irving, Texas. That was so I think I was going to this convention, and I had just gotten there. It was that was probably like a Friday night. It looks like it's dark in the back. The convention was a Saturday Sunday thing, and I see this group of My Hero cosplayers, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And they're like, "Oh, who's this like weird 30-year-old guy talking to these teenagers?" And I said, "I love your cosplay. I'm in the show." And they're like, "Oh, who do you voice?" I said, "I voice President Mike." And there's President Mike. I think that's President Mike. Yeah, the girl with the like half President Mike cosplay on there.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my God, can we get a picture with you?" And I said, "Absolutely, let's take a picture together." And so I screamed, "Yeah," really, really loud, and we took a picture. And I love those like spontaneous. Like I would much rather have those types of interactions at a convention than like just sitting behind a table and signing things. I love like being with the people like in real life and not just in that like there's a table between us, don't touch me, that sort of thing. I like being more accessible because that's who I am. Like I'm really like I never bought into the stardom of what we do. I would go to these conventions and get treated like royalty, and then go home and take out the trash and clean poopy diapers and pick up dog poop in the backyard, like life full of poop and not stardom. So I don't know. I never bought into the whole I'm famous thing, and but they don't know that. They thought it was great getting to meet me, and I thought it was cooler meeting them. Honestly, they're probably cooler than I am.
that's cool. And then I just got a couple more. So then this one looks like you're having a packed house there, man.
Oh wow, yeah. So that was another convention. I think that was in Irving too. That was the Dave Trosko panel, and I love panels where I just get to answer questions and kind of open it up to the audience. It was a really great audience, and there's actually a TikTok video I think of me in this particular panel where they asked me to like do the longest scream that I could do, and I did. I think I almost hit like 26 or 28 seconds of a yeah scream for them, and they just went nuts. So at the very end, of course, we had to take this really cool picture. That's a cool picture. That needs to be like my Facebook wall picture or something like that.
Hey, I got you, man. I'll email it to you. I got you.
Thanks.
What's it called? And then this is going to be the last one here that I kind of popped out. So.
Oh wow! So that is me. I'm in the military gown there. I did not beat up that guy. I promise. This was a production of Oedipus, the King, and that actor there on the ground, his name is David Jeremiah. I think he's in jail now.
Interesting.
I don't know what he did. But I don't know whatever happened to him. And yeah, he played Oedipus. So that's Oedipus with his eyes gouged out, and I played Creon, the king who comes and takes over, and kind of this military-esque type role. And I had my voice for that character was a lot like I'm probably really dating myself. Did you ever watch Doctor Strangelove or How I Loved the Bomb and Stop Worrying, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb? You guys know that movie, Doctor Strangelove?
No, I don't
No.
think I've ever seen it.
George C. Scott is an actor in that, and George C. Scott's a incredible actor from way back when. Played Scrooge. But I did like a voice like his, like it's like a southern like deep military type guy voice, That was a fun role to play. And we did that was a play here in Dallas, yeah.
That concludes the pictures I was able to dig up, man. So
That's a lot of cool pictures to dig up, man. I didn't know I had that many pictures out there online. What's
yeah,
funny is a lot of people, like, I look a lot different. I have alopecia, so like all of my facial hair fell out. So I used to be able to grow beards and mustaches and eyebrows, but I can't do that anymore. That happened when I was like 26.
Yeah.
So I look a lot different these days. And plus, I like gained weight and I'm older, but I look a lot different than I used to look.
this is
way
my
back
coworker
when.
here. My coworker said my favorite pod. Must
Aw.
be nice. He should be
Thanks,
working.
Thanks,
man.
Dave.
Suck it up to you, dude.
Another David. So
A lot of Davids. Good name. Good name.
But yeah, no. So I think it's just crazy. So your journey started off with you in high school, then progressing that way into cooking. So when it comes to what you're doing now, what's something that kind of like gave you that big interest into the culinary journey? Like, you started off, you talked about it, being an actor, you do the cooking and stuff. So what kind of made you want to start your own company? I'll be a little bit more specific on that question.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be able to have the freedom that it provided for sure. I've always wanted to just start something. I've never been a good employee. I never liked working for other people. I guess I can play well with others as long as they're playing by my rules. So I had to invent my own company. I don't know. That's probably too far. But the big thing with culinary, with the interest for me, I enjoyed problem solving and cracking the code. And when you crack the code culinarily on some of your favorite dishes, so what's y'all's favorite thing to go eat? Like if you were to go out and eat, I know there's probably a ton of things you love to go eat, but like if there's something that you could learn to make perfectly, so you would never have to go out to this place ever again. And, what,
Jay, what
for
do you got,
me-
Jay?
Like for me, it's for me, I would like to learn how to make like a good steak, like something like very
like what?
like a very good steak.
Like a very good steak. Well, that's
like,
not hard. You throw that on a grill, you sear it up.
No, yeah, but like
Good. But like, I don't know. There's nothing more satisfying like cracking like Panda Express orange chicken. Like you knew how to make that at home from scratch. That's a fun. That's an achievement. It's accomplishment, and it's satisfying to know. I don't have to go out for this anymore. I can just make it here at home better. I like cracking the codes on food. Because it was kind of magic to me as a kid, growing up. There was some things that my parents just didn't make at home. My parents never made fried chicken at home. We always went out to eat it. We never made sushi at home. We always went out to eat that sort of stuff. But when you could actually make it at home and it tastes just as good, if not better, than what you order out, I think that's part of the satisfying thing of the culinary realm.
So
Saving money.
I know we talked about this off camera, but what's like your go-to meal? Like, you have an upset, wife and kids, and I know I can do this dish. It'll get me out of the doghouse. This is my go-to save my life dish. Do you want to share what that is?
Like the go-to save my life dish is a little bit different than my go-to guilty pleasure dish, which we mentioned before when we were talking before we went live, which was cheese quesadilla smothered in ketchup. Sounds so gross, but I'm telling you, just go try it. It's great. You'll love it. I know you guys are probably gonna go home tonight and just fry up a little tortilla with some cheddar cheese and dip it in some ketchup and be like, all right, let's see what this is all about.
You're not lying. I'm actually thinking about it.
Pizza is my lifeblood. Like I love pizza of all types. I love making pizza. I love making the dough. I love the whole process of making the dough and the sauce and The simplest of pizzas though is my favorite. I just love a good pineapple and bacon pizza, or a good pepperoni and jalapeno. That's my go-to here in Texas, with a little Tabasco on top. If the wife is upset, her favorite thing that I make is, she's a meat and potatoes girl. So she loves it when I do like a pot roast. Sounds really, gauche, but it's pretty damn good when I do it. Or a beef bourguignon or something like rich and hearty. Fish tacos are a lot of fun too. She loves those. Oh, and like if I had to eat a food for the rest of my life, this is going to sound really crazy. Chicken Caesar salad, man. But it has to be my Caesar dressing. Because I make the best Caesar dressing.
You make your
Yeah,
own?
try that.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Sorry, my finger's on the... Wait, there we go.
Dude, so,
Yeah, I make my own. It's got the anchovies in it, the raw egg, all that good stuff. It's so satisfying. And a good Caesar salad, or a Caesar salad wrap.
You sell that in a bottle? I need to try that.
right?
Yeah, maybe I'll bring some on my way down in a couple weeks.
I
Well,
never, I never
we'll
seen,
go to you guys just take me to the grocery store. We'll whip up a batch.
I've never seen Jay eat a salad, bro. I just want you to know he's total
I
bullshit.
do. I love
He's
Caesar. I love Caesar salad.
It's good, but I don't like the creamy. I like creamy Caesar salad. I just don't like most restaurants just use like Ken's Caesar dressing or some other like store bought stuff. Doesn't hit the same way as with when you have the Worcestershire and the anchovy and the Dijon and the capers and all the good stuff in there, man. Oh.
So, like, if you're coming to the Lower Valley, right? So, have you scoped out like any places you want, or any particular food you're looking for, or anything like that?
I did, yeah, I did actually. I was gonna ask you guys, and I'll say, all right, like, you guys are pretty dang close to Mexico, so I'm counting on some pretty damn authentic Mexican food when I get down there. I love Mexican food. I shouldn't say hate. I don't hate. I'm not a huge fan of like what Tex-Mex has done to Mexican food, where it's like just smothered everything in beans and cheese, and it's just that, or sour cream, and that's not my thing. I spent some time in Jalisco, Mexico, at the Hacienda Herradura, where they make the tequila, the Herradura tequila. Hey man, I had like the best Mexican food of my life down there. It was just so authentic and real. And in fact, that's a funny story. I don't know how much time we've got, but it's like a 5-minute story. But we were going down there to go pick a tequila barrel out for our restaurant. And the night we get there, we're just pounding tequila because they were going to take us to a steak restaurant. So we're like, we'll drink heavily. We're going to go soak it all up with bread and meat and potatoes after this. And we get to the restaurant and we're already like ripped. And they didn't take us to the steak restaurant. They took us to this like hamachi sushi restaurant. And I was like, this is bullshit. I need steak. I don't need like raw fish. Like, and one, like, no offense to Mexico, but I'm not eating like raw fish in the middle of Mexico. Like, I've heard enough horror stories about drinking the water. There's no way I'm gonna eat the raw fish. So I'm sitting here with these folks, and I'm like looking at all the stuff they're bringing out, and they're bringing out like a fish pizza, and they're bringing out all this stuff. Nobody wants this. None of my team wants this. We want meat. So I get drunk enough to go to the back of the kitchen. I'm the only one in our group that spoke Spanish. And I don't speak great Spanish, but I speak like kitchen Spanish. So I knew enough how to ask for like a giant plate of beef. And I go to the back kitchen and I'm like yelling at the cooks. I'm like, necesito carne. Necesito un plato grande del carne, castillos. I want this. I want that. Like I want like costillas. I want puerco. Pollo. Nothing. Just carne, por favor. No más pescado. And they're like, oh, okay. So the whole table's like getting ready to pay out. It's like a group of like 20 folks. It's all this like these rich like alcohol people. And right as we're about to like pay the check, they come out with this gigantic plate full of just meat and plop it down on the table. And my three guys were all like, yeah, heck yeah. And it was so delicious and so tasty. But then anyways, we get trashed that night, and we're supposed to be up at like 8 a.m. in the morning to go take this bus to go to the hacienda where they're making the tequila. And it's a long drive. It's like a 45-minute drive in a bus on the streets in Mexico, and we're sitting in the back of the bus, hungover as hell. And we're like green, like we're about to throw up. And we get on this bus, we drive, and it was just like bouncing around, like, just feeling so sick. And then we end up on this in this big agave field, and there's this big, beautiful oak tree in the middle of it. And underneath are these 4 sweet little Mexican ladies, and they're cooking gorditas with nopales. And I can't remember, they had tortas ahogadas, and they had all these and of course, like tequila too, like a big, huge pitcher of like at 8 a.m. in the morning. And oh my gosh, it was like salvation at that moment. I was like, oh my God, I'm so hungover. And you have like burritos and tacos and gorditas and fatty, delicious meats all stewed and with big spicy salsas. Oh man, there was not a better meal that I've had in my life because of the situation I was in, the hangover state, and the beauty of where we were in this beautiful agave field underneath this centuries-old oak tree, eating with our hands just delicious, authentic Mexican cuisine. So that being said, yes, I count on you guys telling me where the best Mexican spot is where I can go get some legit, like, Mexican food.
No, we got you, man. We
take
you.
you across the border, but you might not come back, man. Be honest.
Yeah, that's okay. Not this time. They're always looking to get rid of more people like me.
You ain't wrong, man. You 100% ain't wrong.
I don't. My passport's expired anyway, so yeah, it wouldn't be a good day.
Yeah, but we got you.
Making it across, but never coming back home.
That's funny. So,
we got you something, man.
Yeah, for sure. So, besides coming in October, man, is there anything that you want to share with everybody before we log off on here? To check out any of your pages, Instagram, your culinary things.
Oh yeah, check us out on TroskoCulinary.com. You can see all of our adventures and what we're doing, what we're cooking up. You can follow me on the Instagram with Trosko Culinary, and I think I'm also the Real Present Mike on there. Occasionally, I do the TikTok thing. Used to do a lot more. Just haven't been doing that much, but I'm on there too as the Present Mike. And don't follow me on Twitter. Twitter's a cesspool. I don't tweet very much. The minute I do, somebody comes out and like it's never a good ending. So whatever. Do what you want to do. If you're on Twitter, I'm on Twitter too, but I don't really go on there much. But yeah, check out what we're cooking. We're always cooking stuff. It's fun. And if you want to go see some really fun stuff, go YouTube Daniel Fast with Dave, and you can learn how to cook some cool vegetarian, vegan dishes. I'm not vegetarian or vegan myself, but occasionally me and the wife will diet, and there's some cool recipes on there that I've done. A little cooking show for people. So if that's your bag, that's always fun too.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw some of that too.
Yeah,
100%.
They're fun.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So thank you, Dave, for joining us. We appreciate your time, and hopefully in the near future, we can get you back on the podcast, maybe in a month, 2, 3,
yeah,
4,
man.
5.
Look, we did an hour and 8. You were thinking we'd do it for 30 minutes. I told you I could talk.
Hey, bro. I mean, better for us, right? Better content.
I hope so. Hopefully people like it, man. Well, thanks for having me on, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
No, appreciate it, man. Looking forward to seeing you in October.
Yeah, it'll be a blast. I look forward to hanging out with you guys.
It's going to be fun. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you very much, guys. Stay tuned for some announcements coming up. And besides that, guys, enjoy your Thursday night. See you, everybody.
See you later, y'all.
So.